Voyage.
When the holidays start to feel a bit repetitive, reach for a Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry and put your twist on tradition. A bold cranberry and winter spice flavor fusion, Sprite Winter Spiced Cranberry is a refreshing way to shake things up this sipping season. And only for a limited time. Sprite. Obey your thirst.
Every Who down in Who Newville liked the holidays a ton. But where to get great prices on gifts, they had no idea. None. They searched and they searched for great gifts under $25. Gifts for spouses and friends and even their toddlers. When suddenly one Who shouted, Walmart has what you want, knowing they have Lego, Tree Hut, and low prices to flaunt. So they enjoy the holiday season as Who's often do. Cheering and shouting, Walmart has incredible gifts. Who knew? Find gifts they'll love under $25 at Walmart.
Ray Wu foresaw his wife's death. For 10 years, he tried to convince himself he hadn't.
I thought, wait a minute, no, that's me. That's me battling cancer, not her. It can't be related. No, I tried to blow it off. I literally just blew it off.
While harvesting tomatoes with his wife, he saw a vision of her lying horizontally, and a thought came to him, unprompted, about her being buried. He sensed that God had told him she was going to die, but he said nothing and denied it to himself. Ray had been unlucky in love until meeting his wife.
I would start a relationship with somebody, and then things seemed to be going along fine. All of a sudden, she just had nothing to do with me. Out of the blue, without an explanation. And I was scratching my head like, did I say something wrong? What's going on? That type of thing. And I was never given any real answers as to why it just disappeared and absolved itself and not have any further contact with each other type of thing.
Ray's first date with his wife-to-be risked continuing that trend.
After she said, yeah, we could meet, I was excited. Picked her up. She was wearing this brown furry cap and a skirt. We went to a Japanese restaurant and we ordered the both, the sushi, sashimi. I let her pick whatever she wanted. So I let her pick the restaurant because she knows what's good. So we had our dinner, and afterwards we drove just up the street nearby, parked in the parking lot, and we chatted. She was wearing her furry hat and her skirt. I noticed that her legs bare. I thought, oh, I hope she's not too cold. And I was also suffering from the cold at the time, which the flame was building up. I excused myself. I need to spit it out. I didn't want to just let her think that I'm this dirty guy just spit a snot out of the car window, that type of thing.
I got a serious problem.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine. You're not cold?
Oh, no, I'm good. It just seems like you're having trouble breathing.
Nah, I'm okay. I'm not okay. I'm so sick and snotted up that if I don't spit, I might choke. This is the most disgusting condition I can be in as a human being. And of course, it's on our first date. Where's the rest of your family?
Oh, my sister's in Australia, my brother's in London, and my parents are in Indonesia. In Indonesia, we say, like dry leaves blown by the wind.
She is so cute, and I am so filled with mucus. I can't exactly tell her just a sec, I have to spit. They didn't want to come with you?
No, my brother and sister, we all applied for visas. I got accepted to America. They didn't. Everyone told me I should go.
It must have been a little scary for you.
Well, I have a cousin here. I figured it out.
Okay, act casual. Don't make it weird. You just need to step out for a second. Be normal. Can you excuse me just 1 second?
Oh, okay.
She thinks it's weird. Be quick. I'll just quietly open the door. Maybe she'll not even watch me. She's totally watching me. Well, I can't exactly spit here with her watching me. I need cover. Something. Anything. A bush. Lord help me. What do I do now? Turn and wave? No. Just act like nothing happened.
Why didn't you just tell me you were sick?
I was afraid if I rescheduled our first date, it might not happen.
Yeah, you are really gross right now.
I am.
Take me home and get better for our second date.
After that first date, we, of course, went out more consecutively thereafter.
If I had known you like durian, this might not have worked out.
Oh, you're one to talk with your stinky tofu.
All of Taiwan loves it. but I'm crazy for liking it.
Now it's either me or stinky tofu. You can't have both.
I'm going to have to give this some serious thought.
You're lucky you didn't order it tonight, or I'd have been out the door.
How would you have gotten home?
I'd rather steal a car than sit with you while you eat that.
I would just have to eat my stinky tofu alone, in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, well, don't come back for a few days when you do.
I'll see you next Saturday.
Okay.
This was fun tonight.
Yeah, it was.
Good night. I expected her to wave and go inside as she had done on our past dates, but she stayed facing me, her back to the door, and she leaned close, I assumed for a hug goodbye. When I went in for the hug, she went in for a kiss, and we ended up in an awkward half-hug, half-kiss where she pecked me on the lips, but I was already moving for the hug, and her lips just brushed mine. It was over before I knew what was happening.
And as I was standing at the door with her, and her back towards the door facing me, all of a sudden she just reached over and pecked me on the lips. I was taken aback. I thought, whoa! Humble, very tame, very soft-spoken. She could get mad, of course, but during the times that we've interacted in our behaviors, during our weekly weekend gathering, I should say, I always noticed that she would be very humble, and that really impressed me. She never pointed out to the fact that I was living in a studio. Although I had the various properties, I never told her about that. I wanted to let her think that I'm just a poor guy. You know, I don't want her to say, hey, I got all this, like, oh, that's going to impress her. And then she's a rich guy. No, I didn't allude to that.
Part of this might have been because Alice was used to making her own way without anyone's help.
She came on her own by herself to the United States, while her siblings went to Australia. And when I asked her about how come she came here and not be with them, she goes, well, at the time which they applied for visas, she got accepted in America. Her siblings did not. So her family said, hey, America, go to America. Don't go to Australia, go to America. So she came on her own, by herself, and hooked up with her friends and a cousin, I believe it was, and struggled to survive here all by herself, being a foreign nationality in a foreign country. So she had to take charge of her own life, really, with the help of and aids of friends. And so I think during those times in which she was growing up being the oldest, she had to lead her siblings and take charge of that. That taught her how to live by herself, getting a job, finding jobs, getting her education, and then also applying for citizenship. She obviously got help in what to do, but she applied for that and became a citizen long before we got married. So when I met up with her, I thought, oh, at least I don't have to worry about marrying me to become a U.S. citizen. She's already a citizen, I don't have to worry about that. So that alleviated some fears on me, and I thought she knows how to handle herself. Now she just wants a husband. Now that I'm reflecting back on everything, she was the one that instigated just about everything. The kiss, where to go, when we can meet, her parents coming in, where she get married, all that stuff.
So, while my parents are here, they expect you to make a commitment to me.
What kind of commitment? I realized as soon as I said it what a stupid question that was. Her face said it all.
We're not getting any younger.
Marriage? Marriage? I mean, I have no problem with her. I like her. She likes me. But I don't have a ring. I haven't proposed. This can't be the way we do this, can it? But they're going to leave.
We can go to the courthouse.
Okay. Next week?
Tomorrow. We have an appointment at 11 a.m.
Wouldn't we need to, I don't know.
Okay, I found the nearest courthouse that does marriages. You know, we'll have more than enough witnesses. You only need one. I have the documents we need. I even have quarters for the parking. All you gotta do is show up and say I do. And sign the marriage certificate.
Are you sure you want to do it this way?
Hey, it's 24 hours to fly to the airport in Jakarta. They're not coming back anytime soon. You knew they were coming.
I didn't know that meant we had to get married. I couldn't say that to her, so I just said, I guess you're right.
Went to the courthouse, had a wedding right there on the spot, and then her parents left. I thought, okay, let me make the romantic moments not as a proposal leading up to marriage, but during the wedding, make it as romantic as I possibly can. So not only did we do a cruise wedding, we also did a gondola, get ourselves out of the boat and sail off into the distance, so to speak. And that's what we end up doing.
Ray's wife wasn't just a partner for his life. She made him want to be a better person.
She was really filial to her dad, and I didn't really know about that until later on. But at that time, he was saying that we need to be filial, which is my upbringing too. I tried to be filial to my mom as well. We had first got married and we were together. And I was saying, stay with me, don't leave me. She goes, yeah, you don't leave me too. You're the only family I have. And I thought, oh, that's really touching. You know, she sees me as part of her family, as part of her life too. And if I was to leave her, she'd have nothing. And I thought I can never do that to her. I didn't really realize it, but I finally came to the realization that there are times in which I have a short fuse. I would just blow up and get upset and all that stuff. And it exemplified itself a couple of times during our relationship with each other through the years. One time we were driving back from someplace, and along the way, she was just chewing me out, belittling me, getting me upset. I didn't even say anything in response. I just let her yell at me and scream in my ear during all the time of traveling. And we stopped to a Starbucks to pick up something to drink. So she was standing behind me, and I was spelling out my order to the barista. I said, you want the size and all that stuff. And she was punching it down in her computer. She goes, what size you want? Well, I already set the size. Alice was behind me trying to call out the size. I thought, I already did that. You know, you don't need to yell. Because she was right there in my ear. And I guess I blew up because of what had happened earlier. So I tried to nudge her. I already told her that. Don't even repeat this thing. And I sort of bumped her a little bit harder than I intended. And she was taken aback at what I was doing. And so after the place order, I started feeling guilty. I thought, oh, why did I do that? I really, really upset myself with doing that. She was trying not to cry because we were out in the public. And I could see her wiping tears from her eyes. And when we got back home, she didn't say anything along the way home. And got back home, I thought, I need to apologize to her. It was wrong of me to do that. I don't know why I did that. Maybe the pent-up frustration, all that stuff. So as she was going about trying to avoid me, I grabbed her, pulled her aside. I got on my knees. I begged her for forgiveness. And she started crying again. She said, yeah, I forgive you. And I thought, she's really wonderful. She forgives me for a lot of things I've done to her. And I really appreciate that. And so I apologized to her, made amends. I promised never to do that again and not let it affect me. And so I've learned how to become a better man because of her.
Ray and Alice had been married for years before she started feeling strange.
She started complaining about some kind of needle poking sensation in her stomach. At first I thought, is she pregnant? Kind of thing, hoping it was, but wasn't, obviously. And then I said, well, just make sure you talk to your doctor about it. And the doctor just blew it off. Oh, you're so young, you're healthy, don't worry about it, that type of thing. It wasn't until 6 months later when she said, please let me do some kind of ultrasound. So the doctor, okay, I relent, give you peace of mind. And that's when we discovered, hey, there's something here. The doctor just called. She said she set an appointment for me with an oncologist at the earliest possible date. When we were at the oncologist, I asked, should we do a biopsy? He goes, you could, but that just delays the inevitable. There's a tumor that needs to come out. You could get a second opinion if you like. So we did try to get a second opinion. They just happened to open a hospital here in Torrance. So we went over there. They said, oh, we're not oncologists here. We don't have one at this hospital. We have one at the main location in Dorte, so you could go there if you want. So I thought, well, we already have our surgery scheduled. Let's just stay with our original surgeon instead of trying to get a second opinion. We did the surgery, then did the chemo, and then she wanted to find out what was the actual growth that was in her body. The doctor says, well, initially, after the surgery, I asked the doctor what it was. He goes, well, not sure. I think it's cancer. That's what I thought. What? How? Where? Why? What? He goes, we don't know. It's just one of those things we just don't know. But it's removed. It was in her stomach. When he showed me the CAT scan, it was large. It was like the size of a softball. I was shocked. I was like, that's huge. After we got home, the doctor did a follow-up call, find out how she was doing. And she asked, so what was the tumor that was removed? Do you have any idea? He goes, we don't know. The pathologist said he could not determine what it was. So we sent it out to Boston for a second opinion. They should have the results back, but I haven't gotten it. So let me call them up to verify. The next day, the doctor called up, says, tell me, have you been exposed to asbestos? We were scratching our head. No? He goes, well, you have this thing called mesothelioma. It's a very rare cancer. Asbestos is what causes it. So we're trying to determine what it was, and we couldn't figure out what it was. And I said, well, have you used Johnson's baby powder? She did for several months, but not extensive. So we scratched our head what could she have been exposed to back in Indonesia, here in the States. And there's nothing we could find that we could pinpoint where she got exposed to this thing. It's a possibility that her body just reacts violently to whatever exposure was, and it didn't take long for it to get affected. From my understanding, it takes 30 to 50 years for it to manifest itself after exposure. She just turned 51.
Ray and Alice would ultimately try many different methods to completely eradicate her cancer, none of which worked.
She went in, got several treatments, 8 altogether. And at the end, they said the remaining cells shrunk a little bit, but it's still there. She was wondering if possible to have a second surgery. The doctor goes, no, I'm not the one. He's not a mesothelioma specialist. He's an ovarian cancer specialist. You could go to USC. I'll refer you there. You talk to the surgeon and the oncologist there. So we went, and the surgeon says, well, this is a quite extensive operation. It would take 6 hours. 6 hours? Well, we're going to have to rotate you, literally roll you on the side, roll you on your back, and just get the exposure of this cell being exposed to this radiation that they're going to put on her. Was just freaked out. I was like, I'm not going to go through all that. The only other thing we could think of was maybe possibly use holistic methodology. I heard good things about it. Let's give it a try. I took her down Oceanside, close to San Diego. A very well-known holistic doctor. He did his test and said, let's try high-potent vitamin C and see if that has any effect. He did a blood test. The blood test came back and says, something about her bloodstreams would not accept high-potent vitamin C as a therapy. And he recommended that we go to another holistic doctor that's closer to us, so we don't have to travel far down to Oceanside all the time. So we went to Culver City, which went with a doctor. She did some blood tests, and then she says, oh man, you got high aluminum and high lead contents in your body. Whatever we give you now is not going to do much good. You got all these metals in your body. Let's do chelation and get rid of these toxic metals in your body. They could give her this drug that would supposedly fight some kind of cancer. And so she was on that for 3-4 months. Almost like every 20 minutes, her alarm would go off. She would take the vitamin, take the supplement all day long. That's all she'd been doing. At the end of 3 months, she goes, I'm not getting any better. And she got weaker and weaker. The last 2 months of her life, she literally just became a walking skeleton. Very weak, had no strength, and was just bedridden.
This isn't a life. I can't cook. I can't drive. I can't even kneel to pray to God to heal me.
I love you. You are loved. God loves you.
Then why did he do this to me?
I don't know.
Maybe it's my time. You know, your next wife.
No, don't do that.
You have to be real now. All your CBD and ginseng and hyperbaric oxygen, I mean, none of it means anything. I'm tired. I just don't want to do any of it anymore.
I wish I could reach into you and pull the cancer cells out. I wish I could give you half of my health and make you well again.
Dragon fruit in the backyard's going to be ripe soon. Share it with my mom.
You can share it with her.
Share it with her.
And she just got worse and worse when we were there. I found out then that when the chemo was effective in destroying the cancer cells exploded. When that happened, it releases massive amounts of potassium. Her blood was filling in with potassium, and I couldn't get rid of it fast enough. And so they said that if she continues to high potassium, she may end up dead. So they were trying to regulate potassium levels with medication, and that almost worked, And I didn't know what's going on because I'm not medically trained. But that evening, when she tried to raise up to tell me that she's not feeling good, I realized that, hey, something's wrong. Then I realized I'm in the hospital. Let me call out for help. I shouted for help. Nurses, doctors came rushing in. They gave her oxygen. They were able to calm her down. There was a doctor then that says, I think she might have had a heart attack. What? She got cancer, not heart disease? What? It just blew my mind when I was told that. I looked it up. High potassium in blood. What are the symptoms of it? One of them was heart attack. I think she waited maybe another day or two before she finally came to the conclusion it's not worth it. And then later on that morning, the nurse talked to me, says, hey, Ray, I spoke to your wife. She was lucid at the time, so she decided that enough is enough. I'm going to give up. Alice obviously asked the nurse a bunch of questions. What's going on, what to do, and what will happen. And finally came to the conclusion that this is a losing battle. She's not going to win. I saw that there was this fake cake that was sitting there. I thought, wait, what is this? And I looked at it and I thought, oh, the nurses had made these things for her. They obviously knew her birthday was that day. So it was just a 2-layer type thing. I probably still have it at home. And then these little fake light candles that they put on top says, Happy Birthday, Alice. And then they used these cotton swabs and they painted the swab red on top to simulate matches or candles, something like that. And I thought, well, that was really nice and generous of them to do that. They asked her for 3 wishes. What would it be? First, she wanted to have a drink with boba in there, that type of thing, milk tea. And the second was that to see her sister. And the third one was to have a rice porridge, which is something that we eat in the Chinese family, the rice porridge. And I thought, how am I going to make rice porridge? I'm here in the hospital stuck. I can't go home. Very few restaurants serve that. There are certain ones that do, but they're far away. There's no way for me to drive all the way there and come back without spending 3 or 4 hours. One of the doctors was Asian, so she says, oh, I can make that rice porridge for you. So I said, oh, great, that's wonderful. You could do that. The other doctor says, I'll get the drink for you. And of course, her sister, we had to wait until she arrives that night from the airport. But she still was able to speak up to her death. That's why hours before her actual passing, she woke up and says, why is it taking so long? Those were her exactly last words.
The nurse told me Alice wasn't breathing anymore. I touched her neck. Her heart's still beating, but I don't really feel a pulse. I looked at her and wished her peace. Are you still here, my love? The nurse explained her heart was still creating impulses. It's something called pulseless electrical activity. We monitored her vitals together until the monitor showed 0. She's gone. I leaned in to kiss Alice's left cheek. Goodbye, my love. I love you very much. I'm going to miss you. Eventually, we left. I called family to tell them what had happened, and we were led back in later. Alice was in a clean garment and clean bedsheets all tucked in, as if she was going to bed. Only her face was exposed. We gathered all our belongings, and I went to press my cheek against Alice's face. I kept moving in closer and closer until I finally contacted her skin. Then cheekbone. She was still warm. That was the last time I touched her face.
So when they told me, oh yeah, the cremation will be done here in Long Beach, in this regular modern building, they had their oven inside. And so she was housed in this big giant cardboard box, in which then the technician put her in there, shut the door, and so all I had to do is push this button and hold it for a couple of seconds. And when you care to do the honor. Just before I pushed the button, I stood there, I prayed, thank God that at least she's there. This is her desire to be cremated, and a portion of her ashes to be placed next to her grandfather over there in Indonesia. Pushed the button, held it, and I heard it kick on, the rumbling noise. And then the lady technician says, okay, that's it. We'll let it run for a couple of hours and then we'll put the ashes together. And deliver it over to the mortuary in Corinth. So I thanked her, and she and I left. Probably a week later, so the mortuary says, okay, your wife's ashes are here. Come pick it up. So I picked it up, took it home, and I took the urn out, snapped a picture of it, showed it to her family, says, Alice is back home again. At long last.
Ray never lost his faith in God, even when Alice asked him the toughest question of all.
Am I to thank God for what's happening to me right now? The answer is actually yes, believe it or not. We don't know what's going on to us. It makes no sense. But God wants you home for a reason. He's going to take you. We're going to try to delay as much as possible, but we do thank God for that because He knows what's best for us.
Alice's entire life seemed encapsulated, strangely, in 3 consecutive dates.
We had a wedding reception October 27th. She was born October 28th, and she ended up dying October 29th.
Hope Lives Here is a production of Voyage Media. The series is produced by Nat Lundell and Dan Benamor. This episode was executive produced by Ray Wu. Edited, sound designed, and mixed by James Scully. Original music by Derlis Gonzalez. Starring Dale Chung as Ray and Sydney Shiotani as Alice. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you're listening, and subscribe now for future episodes.